Last October, a completely new car came into the American market.
Corvair by Chevrolet is brand new and planned for today.
Picture this. It's 1960 and you walk into a Chevy dealership looking for a new car. You want something small, but not European like a Volkswagen Beetle. The salesman, he understands this, so he points you to their new model, the Chevy Corvair. In this video, I'll give you the history of the Corvair and explain how one book took down one of America's most popular cars of all time. The brainchild of Edward E. Cole, the Chevy Corvair was unlike anything that had ever been created in the United States before. The Corvair sported an air-cooled flat-six engine that was mounted on the rear that was often compared to the Porsche 911 series. Although very similar in design, the Corvair was not meant to challenge the 911, and instead was meant to challenge the Beetle. The Corvair was created with the idea that it could appeal to anyone, with a two-door, four-door, and even a convertible option available. Chevy even created a line of vans and trucks that were titled under the Corvair with the same engine. When production of the Corvair began in 1960, it was seen as a great success, as 250,000 cars were sold that year alone. Sales figures continued to grow as the Corvair cemented itself as the cornerstone of the auto industry. That was, up until Ralph Nader published his book, Unsafe at Any Speed.
No car has ever accomplished the 20-mile run so early in the season before. But watch Corvair. No snow tires, no change. Yet, Corvair kept climbing.
Published on November 30th, 1965, Unsafe at Any Speed was created in order to highlight some of the most unsafe aspects of the American automotive industry. The book addressed topics such as crash safety and styling, but is most remembered for Nader's critiques of the Chevy Corvair. According to Nader, the Corvair's swing axle rear suspension was unsafe due to creating a potential that the vehicle could flip over. It was believed that an imbalance in tire pressures could result in the Corvair oversteering, which would result in a rollover due to how the suspension was designed. The swing axle design was not unique to the Corvair, as the Volkswagen Beetle also had this design. It is also important to note that by 1965, Chevy had introduced the second generation of Chevy Corvair, which had ditched the swing axle design and had instead opted to use independent suspension. Nader also claimed that his issue with the vehicle was that General Motors had made decisions that jeopardized the public's safety due to budget reasons.
And now, half a year later, convincing proof that Corvair excitement was based on significant engineering contributions, as Motor Trend magazine picks the Corvair as Car of the Year.
So what was the outcome of this book? Looking at the public side of this, the Corvair's reputation took a nosedive. It was a respected vehicle at one point, but was now deemed a safety hazard to the public. This reputation eventually impacted sales figures as the Corvair began to see decrease in sales, even with the new generation and the new rear suspension. From an industry side of things, the book did not help gain Nader any love, as General Motors went on to tarnish his reputation. The company harassed Nader in an attempt to ruin him with rumors of political views and even reports of sexual misconduct. This harassment grew out of hand, as by 1969, GM President James Roach was forced by the U.S. Senate to issue an apology to Nader for the company's claims. Nader eventually sued the company and won $425,000. By 1969, sales of the Corvair were slipping, and its reputation of being unsafe was unable to be shaken. By May of 1969, Chevrolet announced the discontinuation of the Corvair.
It may be that the Corvair by Chevrolet is best known right now for safety. But along with saving, the Corvair is engineered for maximum safety.
Although the Corvair was no longer in production, the story does not end there, as Nader's book continued to be studied after it was published. In 1970, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration began its investigation on the first generation of Corvairs with the swing axle suspension. After testing the cars in 1971, the NHTSA found that the Corvair performed similar to other vehicles on the road at that time. Although Nader claimed that the vehicle could oversteer and roll over, there was no evidence to support this claim. Many people following this called Nader out and highlighted how he ignored other vehicles with the same suspension setup. To many, it seemed like Nader used the Corvair as a scapegoat to sell copies of his book.
The advantage in the Corvair is unitized construction, welded in one piece instead of bolted together. The Corvair's body by Fisher is solid and strong, built to take it.
The public's opinion on Nader going forward was split, as some people loved that Nader prioritized public safety, while others hated him and viewed him as a liar. The Chevy Corvair's history will always be surrounded with complexity. A car that was once seen as revolutionary eventually became something people made fun of. The claims that Ralph Nader made in his book seemed to kill the car off, even if they weren't that truthful. Using the Corvair as a scapegoat may have benefited Nader, but in the moment it eventually led to a slow deterioration of his public image and a never-ending fight with General Motors.
See your Chevrolet dealer for the new Corvair.